Basketball game? Crushed it. And the day's just getting started. Now, kicking it with my crew. When I need a quick snack, Go-Go Squeeze Active Fruit Blend with electrolytes pouches are always in the starting lineup. Made with real fruit and select electrolytes. And so tasty. From workouts to hangouts to whatever's next, I go with Go-Go Squeeze Active. Snag yours on your next store run. Available on Amazon.
Hello, everybody. It's Hannah Conda, and welcome back to What's Lost Got to Do with It. I am so excited to welcome an absolutely gorgeous human being from Ireland, Diona Doherty, a beautiful comedian who is about to embark on the Edinburgh Fringe with a show called Getting Your Pink Back, which is absolutely gorgeous. And this is such a brilliant chat for those of you out there that are new parents, that are mothers or mothers in waiting, that you might be preggers at the moment and you might be about to pop. Diona really opens up about so many things to do with becoming a mother and having her whole world change as she became a mum, and sharing some of those trials and tribulations that happens with postpartum depression, the experiences of being a mum and a working mum. And she just is so generous with her story, and it's such a beautiful chat, and I cannot wait for you to hear it. So without further ado, I'm going to let you get into Diona Doherty. We'll be back right after this.
Yes, Mr. Gecko, you're a huge inspiration to us all. But who was your muse?
Oh, my dear old Nan. She imparted many wise words to me. She would say, never let the fame get to your head, always remember who you are, and let people get more than just savings with Geico's fast and friendly claim support. I lived up to her advice, and now anyone can file a claim anywhere and anytime. I miss her so much.
Did she go somewhere?
Yeah, extended quilting trip.
Ah.
Get more than just savings. Get more with Geico.
Alrighty, my friends, welcome back. I am so excited to welcome my absolutely gorgeous guest all the way from Ireland. It is Diona Doherty!
Hi, how are you?
I am great. How are you?
Isn't technology never fails to amaze me? Anytime I'm like a wee old granny at this stage where I'm still amazed that I can talk to people in real time that live on the other side of the world. Like, it's bananas.
It's ridiculous. I feel the same way. Doing this podcast, I get to chat to people all over the globe, and the only thing that really shits me off about it is just figuring out the times.
Yeah, and the thing is, if they stay consistently the same hour change, but we're still like, what time is it there?
Do you have daylight savings? And are you in Northern Ireland or the
North?
You'll
Yeah,
have to,
but it's the same time zone as Southern Ireland. It's 5 minutes away from me. Like, it's a half-hour drive, and I'm in Southern Ireland.
Do you have to get your passport stamped when you go?
No, because I have an Irish passport. Because when you live in Northern Ireland, you have the right to dual nationality. It's a very complicated political setup, but
yeah,
basically you have the right to be British or be Irish. So I'm Irish and I have an Irish passport. You can travel freely between the both of them.
I love that. I feel I've never been to Ireland, but I have a family connection. My family, my dad's side is all from Ireland. He's been named after Michael Collins, and we're Collins family.
Oh my God! Wow.
Yeah. So we're Irish Italian. So that makes me like gnocchi, which
is the best kind. Lovely. Irish Italian. That is a chat-up line.
Yeah, it does all right. The only thing that really pisses me off is the fact that my hair grows everywhere on my body apart from my head.
Yeah. Listen, that's a chat-up line too. You want to see all the hair on my body and not on my head?
Prove it. Get it out. Woo!
Yeah.
It's probably a bit too early for that for you.
No, it's 11:05. I have 2 kids. This is dinner time.
Oh, bitch. Go. Cheers to you. I'm having a drink for you. I'm on the double vodkas today. So I'm ready to rock and roll. But it's such a treat to have you here. I've been like really catching up because I didn't click that. I don't think this is probably one of those things that everybody comes to, is that you were the Ukrainian girl from Derry Girls, which is wild. The Irish girl playing the Ukrainian.
That's funny. I know. I get that a lot. I get people like, oh my goodness, why didn't you play one of the Derry? Because I'm from Derry and I have a Derry accent. I'm like, why didn't you play one of the Derry girls? And I was like, I fucking tried. I auditioned for it. I didn't get it.
Rude.
Like, I obviously tried. I'm not stupid. But no, I looked far too old for the part. I'm nearly 5'11", and it didn't work out. But then they got in touch and they were like, "Do you want to play this role?" And I was like, "Absolutely!" It was such a fun part to play.
You fooled me. I actually thought you were Ukrainian. To my surprise.
Well, you weren't
No.
the only one. I was in a train one time going into Belfast in Northern Ireland, and a man came over to me and he was like, just after Derry Girls came out, and he was like, "Do you need directions anywhere?" And I was like, "I'm from here."
I wish you went with it though. You should
I
have just
know.
yes and him.
Yeah, I should like, yes, I don't know where City Hall is. Where do I go? Like, I should have went for it fully and then robbed the guy blind.
You know what? Hey, it's his fault, you know?
That would have been a big catchy move. Yeah. But
Yeah.
it's so fun to be a part of. Such an amazing historic show, really, for this country. It's done such amazing things here for women in comedy, especially. And it's shone a great light on the comedic talent in this country. So it's been such an honor to be part of.
Yeah, because Ireland does have such incredible female comedians, and it's
Yeah.
and so did you start in stand up? Was that your
No, I started off as an actor. That was always what I wanted to do. And it just seemed that the TV parts that I was always getting here were comedy
in
mostly.
comedy? Yeah.
And I was like, maybe I'm a funny bitch. I don't know. What happened? My husband's a stand-up comedian as well. Yeah. And we met at a comedy festival when I was in a sketch group. So I wasn't doing stand-up, but I was in a sketch group. And what happened was he was always, "Oh, you should try stand-up." And I was like, "I don't think so. That's a lot of pressure." And what happened was my friend asked me to be maid of honor at her wedding. And she asked me to do a speech. So I wrote a 10-minute bridesmaid speech.
Yeah.
And packed it with jokes. It went down really well. And my husband came over straight afterwards and he was like, "That was stand up. You wrote something that was 10 minutes long. People laughed. That's stand up." And I was like, "Oh my God, that's stand up? Oh, I'll do that." So then that was it. And that was like 6 years ago now, maybe. And then obviously there was the pandemic and having kids and all. So there was a bit of a stop-start situation. But that was really how I got my first taste of it, was at my friend's wedding.
Yeah, I do drag, but I dabble in comedy and like hosting and stuff like that. And it is always, I never considered myself funny, ever. And then it's just someone going, "That was actually quite entertaining. You should give it a whirl." And I've never dipped my toe in the stand-up world, but I'm kind of
Now,
intrigued.
do you host as yourself?
Yes. I
Okay.
host in drag, and it ends up being quite monologue-y and it's like a stand-up routine. I love it.
Yeah.
And it's
And I think as well, like lots of companies are still missing a trick, I think, because when they get entertainers in to host rather than the straight sort of presenters, the presenters who are really reliable and do a brilliant job usually, but when you get people like a drag artist in or a comedian in or an entertainer of sorts, they usually get something extra. And I think as a comedian, when I host events, I tend to try and personalize. I don't just rely on them handing me a script. I'll write jokes for that company. And when I'm doing corporate events, if I'm doing something for, I don't know, like a plumber society, I'll write jokes about plumbing and make it personal towards them. So I think you get that little sprinkle of something extra when you hire an entertainer to do your event, to host your event.
Yeah, it's exactly right. And I try to do the same. It's so nice to hear you say that as someone in the realm, because I think we've probably all been at functions and we've seen this man get up and it's just a boring batshit fucking, he would throw a couple of regular jokes, but like to personalize it and it makes them feel seen, and then it makes it easier to go deeper into them.
And then they'll pay attention as well, because most of the time they're like, "When's the bar open?" Like, they don't care. They want to just get to the next thing. So if you can keep their attention by personalizing a few jokes, I always think that's a great idea.
Fuck the bar, my legs are open, babes. Jump on in.
Yeah. No, don't get me wrong. I've done some of those corporate gigs where you're there to do a stand-up set rather than hosting, and it's like a fucking bear pit, and you're like shouting over the top of them. Nobody wants to listen to you. It's their one big night out of the year. Everyone's hammered, and they're like, "Who is this? Get her off the stage."
You get that money, get that check, and get the fuck out.
Yeah. I'm just in my head going, "This is going to pay for my holiday. This is going to pay for my holiday. This is going to pay for my holiday."
Oh, I know. It's always the way. I did a birthday party once for an 18. It was an 18th birthday. 18 is the legal drinking age in Ireland as well, isn't it? Yeah, so it was like 18th birthday. And I was like, this is so progressive. And it was through an agency, and I was like, this is so progressive. Like, how lovely that the parents have got their gay kid a drag queen for their birthday. I was like, this is lovely. So I walked in, and I was like, honestly, this is so nice. I'm really like honored to be here for your son's birthday. Like, when did he come out? And then they were like, oh, he's not gay. He's not gay.
Okay.
I just got told that drag queens are are clowns for adults. Bitch, lamb to the
Shut up.
slaughter. Lamb to the slaughter. They were all drunk straight boys. And they put me on this like marble table thing that I had to perform on. And I had just probably 18 or 19 straight drunk teenagers. So, show us your dick, show us your tits.
Shut up.
Yeah, I was like, what the? And then I could see the mum in the background just like clapping along. And I was like, bitch, give me my money. Let me out of here, please. Thank you.
Oh my God. That's so awful. That's bullying.
It was wild. It was wild. And she was like, "Are you gonna do another number?" I was like, "No, not for those savages. No, fuck that."
Not at all.
No.
That's why. I also think I'd get booked for a lot of events to do a stand-up set at, and it's especially if it's for a wedding, right? Because what happens is like the best man or the bridesmaid, they're a big fan of your stuff. So they
Yeah.
think it's a great surprise for the bride and groom, and they'll hire you to come in. And you're like, but now I'm doing a set, and in this room, there's 98-year-old Margaret, and there's 4-year-old Beth, and there's the divorced couple over there that haven't seen each other in 15 years, and there's two families fighting. And you're like, how am I supposed to appeal to this entire demographic? This is the worst thing ever. It's brutal, and you're just like trying to get through it.
Being a 4-quadrant entertainer is quite hard in this day and age.
I know, yeah.
What drives your comedy? What do you pull from?
When I started doing stand-up, it was just before the pandemic. So it was just, like, I don't know, like a lot of people do. Anytime something funny happens in my life or something, I can remember a story from when I was younger. I open the notes section on my phone, I write something down about it, and later on I'll go back and revisit it, and I'll try and see how I can maybe stitch things together to make them all seamlessly into a story. Because I was only doing stand-up for about 6 months, and then it was the pandemic, and I had both of my kids then throughout the pandemic. A lot of my stuff afterwards is anecdotal about parenting and about being a mum and about nostalgically looking back on like the early 2000s when I was like coming of age. So a lot of my stuff is like that, but it's certainly not geared at just women, even though my audiences are largely women. But when men do come, they're like, oh my God, I didn't realize that was going to be funny. And it is. And you're like, yeah, because there's this misconception that men won't find female comedians funny because they can't relate. As if I'm going to stand there and talk about my period for an hour. And it's a bizarre idea because a woman would never sit in an audience watching a male comedian and go,
say,
I can't relate to having a dick.
Yeah.
You just don't think like that. But when it's the other way around, it's somehow there's a bit of a prejudice. But yeah, so like my current show, so I'm going to the Edinburgh Fringe Festival. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's like one of the big comedy festivals.
I did the Edinburgh Fringe once. Didn't get paid. The promoter went under, but
nobody gets paid.
It's for the love of the art. Because where do we
love
love
of the art. My
we love it in
agent
the
just
arts.
keeps saying it's a trade show. It's for you to go and go, here's what I can do. Please give me more work. So I'm taking my current show there, and that show is called Get Your Pink Back. So the concept of that show is about flamingos, and it's about the fact that when flamingos have babies, their pink colour, their bright pink colour, drains to a pale white. Did you know that?
Yeah, because it's the food that they eat.
Yeah.
The nourishment.
No, it's that their nutrients drain and their energy drains because they're putting all of their energy into their baby flamingos.
Oh, the mothers.
The mothers and the fathers.
Oh, I did not know. Because I thought you said about where the pink comes from. It's the algae that they eat that gets the pink.
Oh, yeah.
But I didn't realize that it drains from them.
So when they have kids, the mums and the dads, they go completely white. So you can Google white flamingos, and they are just after having kids because it's like they're giving their wee baby flamingos all of their energy, all of their nutrients, and all of their money. Like they're knackered, and they're wee baby flamingos. When they get bigger, the mums and dads then get their pink color back once their wee baby flamingos become a little bit more independent. So my stand-up show is based around me post having my kids, drawing a line under having any more kids, trying to get my pink back and the things that I explored to get my own pink back. So that's the concept of my current show. Thank you.
I love that. Because how old are you, bubbies? I think you told me before we started.
They're 2 and 4.
2 and 4. Far out. So you got your hands full.
Yeah, and also they're not coming with me to the Edinburgh Fringe. I'm going to be away for 4 weeks, which is, I feel like, horrendous about going, but I'm almost being like, it's a big thing that I just have to do for myself, for us. It's even part of the process of getting my pink back.
Getting your pink back.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, really excited. So there's a lot of nostalgic stories about the show as well, like when I was growing up and the sort of, do you know, like the toxic makeover TV shows that we all watched?
Oh, yeah, America's Next Top Model. We had, what else do we have? We had Project Runway. We had,
Project Runway.
You actually might love, there's a YouTuber and her name is Luxeria. And she reviews and goes back into analysing all of these shows that fucked every millennial in the asshole with their body image. And
I think I know who you're talking about.
yeah,
I
she's
think
like
I've watched,
blonde.
I've watched her.
Yeah, and she did like The Swan, and she just did one called Who's Your Daddy, which is an American show where they got this girl who was adopted as a child and then brought 7 men that she had to figure out who was her biological dad.
What? Like what?
No wonder,
but even,
like,
do you
we're
remember
messed
the
up.
Swan? The Swan was like, let's give you shit ton of surgery and that will make you feel better about yourself.
Yeah,
And they just
and
like
work out on top of getting the surgery.
yeah, we'll give you liposuction and then you'll also do boot camp every morning at 5:30 and like your whole face will be reconstructed. You're not allowed to see your family for 6 months. There's no mirrors in your flat. And then all of a sudden this big reveal. And there was no work, no care, look, no self-care done or no.
Not at all.
So in the show I talk lots about it. There was a fashion guru double act here called Trini and Susanna.
Oh, Trini says that. Oh my gosh. Luxeria does that. And there's this one quote, a daytime tweed and an evening chiffon. That was one of their, what they said. Those bitches, like.
Those bitches.
Fabulous as they are, but.
They used to get a girl and lock her in like a 360-degree mirrored room so she could get a good hard fucking look at herself. And just like, you look like a man, we're going to shave your beard, take your top off. Like, it was just the bizarrest. And also, the women who were on this show were never volunteers. They were nominated by some asshole friend somewhere.
Yeah.
Just the maddest experience.
The covert camera that they had in their houses and stuff watching them. Like, what, and the UK and like the US really produced some soul-shattering content that we consumed, and we were addicted to it.
The poor women that were on it were so traumatized afterwards because they obviously felt completely betrayed. Because then there's these little interviews with their best friends and like their husband and like their best friends just there, and like a Jessica Couture tracks have been like, I've never liked any of the clothes that she's worn, to be honest. She turned up to my birthday in double denim, and they're probably watching it being like, these are my friends. Like, what?
Yeah, hateful bastards.
Hateful bastards.
Yeah, because do you feel like that's had covertly an effect on how you grew up?
Hugely. So in the show, I also talk about, so I was on Britain's Next Top Model, and I talk about my experience on that show as well. I was on series 8 of Britain's Next Top Model, and it was awful. Yeah. And at the time, this was like early 2000s, mid 2000s, 15 years ago now, and almost felt like that was like the thing to aspire to, is these like TV shows that made these big careers, and they all looked so glamorous. And you watch the show and you don't realize the behind the scenes that I'm sure you're now aware of from filming the shows you filmed and with RuPaul's and stuff as well, that you just know that the stuff that you see is the glamorous, cool version of it all, and then behind the scenes it's absolutely cat dog eat dog. And on that show, so Elle Macpherson was
your host,
lead judge when I was on it. And Whitney Port was
she
one
like
of the judges,
like the Twiggy or the Miss J or something.
Yeah. And then she was, I remember she was in like Laguna Beach and The Hills and those sort of reality shows. And then Tyson Beckford was the other judge, and Julia McDonald, the designer. But anyway, so I was on the show and they said to me that I only looked good from the waist up, and they were like, you've got, like, basically saying we've got real chunky legs, and it really ruined my confidence. And I did not wear shorts or a dress for 15 years. I was embarrassed about my legs and paranoid about the shape of them, and always thought they were really chunky and really fat. And I would be on holidays in the sun in like Spain sweating because I was like, I wear trousers all the time. And I was always even embarrassed to even admit that I was embarrassed about my legs, because I didn't want to draw attention for people to then look at them and go, yeah, actually I've got really chunky calves. So I only this summer, I started a podcast this year with 3 other women who are all powerhouses.
I've had a listen. Fabulous.
Yeah, and we love just going through that emotional roller coaster with each other. And there's a thing about having a young girl. My daughter's 4, And I am terrified that she will ever consume those toxic makeover TV shows like we did that formed awful opinions of our own bodies for ourselves. And I'm terrified that anyone will ever make a comment to her that will make her disrespect her body like I have my whole life. And like most, to be honest, millennials have. And so I made a commitment this summer and I was like, do you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to wear the shorts. And for the first time since I left that show 15 years ago, this summer, I have been wearing shorts. And it has been the most fulfilling, like, end of an era, a new one chapter for me. And it was the biggest challenge. And I know it sounds so silly, but for me, it was such a huge deal. And I thought, if I don't want her to disrespect her body, if I don't want her to be embarrassed of herself, I need to be the example that she sees of somebody who loves their body. And that's when I was like, I'm going to do it for her. So I now wear shorts.
Oh, yes. I'm so proud. That's so beautiful. It is so beautiful. It's like taking that power and that, owning that. We get one vessel. And I had a weird thing with hair on my legs when I was a teenager. And I didn't like the hair on my legs. So I would wear shorts all the time. Went to Bali in the middle of fucking the tropics, sweating because I didn't want to show hair on my legs. And it actually took doing drag and being in a dressing room and just going, I looked around and I was like, oh, we've all got weird things about our bodies. But that's what we love. Yeah. It's so good. Yeah. That perfect idea of what the human body should look like is so unrealistic. It's so unmanageable. Yeah. And it's also, if that's what you want to look like, then sure. But our bodies are weird and they're bizarre and you got to embrace it. You got to love it. And you're also,
if you're almost like only showing your best angles and making sure you look perfect all the time, then you're actually perpetuating that idea that everyone should look perfect because you're not ever showing an example of what someone looks like who looks like you. When I was like, oh, by me covering up my legs, I'm almost going, oh, my legs are perfectly gorgeous underneath here. You don't need to look at them, So I'm almost like hiding. And then by just like showing a normal pair of legs, what a normal pair of legs look like, there's absolutely nothing wrong with them. And even if there was, it wouldn't matter. You're helping the cause of being like, no, we can all look the way we look and it's fine. But that's to go back to say about I talk about that in my show too, about like the whole experience of being on Britain and Ireland's Next Top Model and how brutal those shows were. And I know that they were a sign of the times and it was so different back then. And, I haven't got like a real grudge against people like Trinny and Susanna or people like Elle Macpherson who wouldn't have known any better at the time either. I'm sure
they were a product of it as well.
Yeah. Exactly. And we'll probably look back on times now and go, I can't believe we used to say that or talk like that or whatever. We're all learning.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It's about owning like our power and not giving it it's not giving it that time in our space anymore.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's not worth it. It's not worth it.
It's not. And I also love taking things like that and trying to make them funny. Like, I think that's my favorite thing. I love taking something that feels heartfelt and going, right, how can I inject jokes into this? Because I feel like whenever you have extreme feelings about something, you're more likely to remember it and take away. So I wrote a play that I performed last year called Sunny Side Up, and it was a dark comedy all about my experience of having my kids through IVF. And the whole 7 years that I spent the process of doing IVF, I couldn't find anything funny about it because it's not funny. It's a difficult process. But I was like, I love dark humor. And I think even being from a place like Ireland, where it's been such a troubled place for so long, there's been a lot of violence and a lot of division, that I was like, we are really good here at making fun of dark times. And I was like, fuck, I need to write something funny about this. And even if anything, I need to make money back because it's very expensive to do IVF.
Yes, but it's like taking because I'm the same. I like every trauma that I've had in my life ever, I always put it out in my shows because it's like a therapy release for us. But I love it makes you feel like not alone. And I'm assuming from everything that you've done, the amount of people that have reached out to you and told you, oh my God, it's nice to just have a reprieve and laugh at it.
Brilliant. It is. And even with the current show, with the Get Your Pink Back show, I get a lot of like early postpartum mothers who message me and they're like, oh geez, I feel a bit healed after that. I'm 6 months postpartum. It's my first night out with my friend without the baby. I was really worried and that felt like I was healed a little bit after the show. I also have a babes in arms policy for all of my tour shows as well, where I say that you can, if you have a newborn baby that you're too anxiety ridden, to like fucking bring the baby. Well, the baby, it's fine. But they'll not understand what I'm saying, so it's fine.
Yeah, it's the one thing about mums and parents is that like everyone understands that you could be doing a comedy show with a baby on your arm because that's the power of motherhood. Yeah, and you're like you tune the crying out, you do whatever, and you carry on. I take my hat off to every bloody parent in the world, and it is
after I had my daughter and I had to do like self-tape auditions. she cried all the time. So I had to literally just pet her on the boob and just breastfeed her and then record from like where I'm recording from now. And she'd be down here on the boob feeding, and it was the only way I can get my auditions done.
That is peak mum. That is so good. I'm
So
gonna tell
good.
my sister this because she's just about to have her first baby, and
Oh.
I'm very excited. But she rang me the other day. She's feeling very like her hormones are reaping havoc on her at the moment, and she's up and down, and she's just feeling all over the shop.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for her to hear you talk, just so that she
Mhm.
can, because I think even though you know fundamentally that people around you are experiencing similar things, just hearing someone say it and validating it a little bit is so powerful. And it's so incredible that you do
Director to
that.
some of the episodes of our Girls Groupchat podcast when I talk freely about like postpartum depression
Yeah.
and about just the real life experience of having kids, because it's not
Mm.
all fucking daisies and swings. It's really tough, you know, and but it's also so rewarding. It's like simultaneously the best and the worst thing at the exact same time. Does she know what she's having?
She's having a girl. She's having a little
Oh, that's
girl.
fun.
Yeah, I'm very excited. And she has had times that have been challenging trying to get pregnant, and now everything's just going well, and the baby's good, and she's how many weeks now? I think she's 23 weeks. And
So is this your first niece nephew? Is this your first
in my family, like my immediate
in your
family,
family side?
yeah, my partner, his sister has two nieces, and they are absolute joys. But I love it because I don't think I'll ever have kids myself. I think I'm just going to be the
Okay.
really cool gay uncle. I've got a
Yeah.
dog, and that's all the baby that I need.
Didn't even see your dog sat
Yeah,
there.
she's very little Maple. She's quite the princess.
So laid back.
Or when she wants to be.
Okay.
Yeah, she's quite the diva. I don't know where she
Does
learned
your
that
dog
from.
sleep in your bed with you?
Oh, yeah, she's
Yeah.
like right in the middle of me and my hubby, and but to be honest, if he was here, she would not be here.
Okay.
She's daddy's little girl.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
How long have you been married?
Well, we're not married. We're de factos. So we've
Okay.
been together 8 years. And because he's from England, he's from the north of England. He's from Blythe. And we met when he was doing a working holiday visa in Australia. And
Right.
he was on the bar, and I was doing some shows. And about 8 years later, we're still going. But when you just
That's like a movie. He spotted you from on stage. That's very cute.
Yeah, and like I went to go talk to him because one of the glassies at the bar that we were working at was like, "Oh, this British guy has a crush on you," and I was like, "Which one?" Because there was three, and I barked up
Jeez.
Jack's tree. Turns out it wasn't him; it was one of the other ones. But I sank my teeth in. I was like, "I want you. You're it."
Yeah.
But
Yeah, you're like, I'm gonna double down. I've decided it's you who fancies me, and that's what's gonna happen.
yeah, and we're on. How did you meet your husband?
I actually met him at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival.
Really?
Yeah, even though we're both from here, we didn't live too far apart. I was there in a sketch group. He was there as a stand-up, and there was a night organised on the first night for all of like the Irish acts to meet up, and we met that night, and that was it. And we genuinely fell in love that first night as well, which is but we did. I remember him saying to me, like, I think we'll get married someday on that first night. And I was like, yeah, I think so. It was so bizarre. And
When you
then
know, that's like me and
just
Jack.
flew.
It just happens. I fucked the rules. I threw them out. I'm like,
Yeah.
when you
And I
know.
was quite young. So I was like 22, 23. And he has 3 children to a previous relationship. And so I, like, very young became a stepmom. And
Wow.
which was such a weird thing because I had never found myself to be extremely maternal or even wanted kids. I never thought about it too much. I was 22. I was in a sketch group. I was living my life, having fun. I'd just done Britain Ireland's Next Top Model like 2 months before. And I hadn't really thought much about having kids. And what happened is I remember seeing my husband with his kids and I was like, holy shit, I want that. I'd never been in close proximity with kids before, and seeing that like unconditional love, I was all, oh my God, get me some of that.
Pump that in intravenous.
Give me that shit.
This.
Yeah, so then we started getting. But you know, he proposed to me in Edinburgh then a few years later. And what happened was he said to me one night, he was like, oh, I have a gig tomorrow night in Edinburgh. And this is before I was doing stand-up. And he was like, I've pretended that you're my manager, so they're going to fly you over as well. And I was all, excellent. So we flew over and he was like, oh, the gig's not until midnight because we didn't fly in until 9 p.m. And I was like, why is it so late? And he went, oh, it's like a corporate thing. And he goes, let's go walk up Arthur's Seat, which is like a little monument at the top of a small enough mountain in Edinburgh. Edinburgh, where we had one of our first dates, which in itself was a bit rare because I'd known him about 2 days, and he was like, "Do you want to walk up this mountain in the middle of the night?" The man could have murdered me, but I was like,
Living life on
"Let's
the edge,
go."
babes.
Yeah,
I love it.
he had a bag. He had a bag full of burgers and a disposable barbecue, and I was like, "He's not going to kill me. We're eating burgers." So
You could have
we
been the
went.
burger.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we we went. So then whenever we went back over to Edinburgh for this like gig that he said he had, we went up Arthur Seaton and he proposed to me then up there, and it was now like 11 o'clock at night, and I was like, "Shit, we gotta leave quick, you've got your gig." And he was like, "I made the gig up to get you to Edinburgh, there's no fucking gig."
Oh,
But up until then, I was still like, "Let's go." But yeah, so that's how so we always knew that we would get engaged in Edinburgh. I actually think another comedian couple got married during their show in Edinburgh one year,
is
like
that
as
too
part
much
of
for
the
you?
show.
How do you feel? Would you have done that? Because you're married now.
Yeah, we're married now, I think 7 or 8 years, but no, I don't think I'd have done that. I think some things are just for you. But
Yeah,
I
it's a
don't know
bit.
how many nights you have to do that on, because usually you do your show for a month. So I don't know if they had to get
You're getting
rewound every
married every
night.
night.
By the end of it, the last one, you'd be like, "Can we make this one a divorce? Because I'm so
Yeah.
fucking bored of marrying this asshole."
Yeah, that's too much. That's quite the overcommitment. Like, there's got to be a cutoff, like where the person, like, we blend it as artists,
Yeah.
blend the personal everything, but
Yeah.
that's too fucking much for me. No, thank you.
Yeah, too much love, too sappy. Yeah,
I
so that's
love
how we got
that.
engaged, and then we've been married ever since, obviously. For
Oh
now.
my God. You are just one of the most fascinating and stunning and beautiful human beings. And it's like you just have this radiate this warmth and this openness. And we haven't even talked about anything loss related, really.
Yeah.
Has there been a pivotal loss in your life that it could be anything, a job or whatever, that has channeled your experience and how you've developed to where you are now?
Genuinely, the day my daughter was born, I do feel like I lost myself, who I was before. I do feel like whoever I was before completely went away. That was it.
Yeah.
I then became completely. They say when you have kids, when a mother has kids, ever hear of a baby brain?
Yeah.
When you become forgetful and you can't function as you did before, what happens is your brain actually rewires chemically because it needs to make more space for all of the things that it prioritizes now, baby related. So like feeding schedules and their safety and their health and their well-being. And your brain completely rewires. And so it literally stops you the ability to remember stuff that's not that important, like where you put your keys and when you did you put a wash in the washing machine, you can't remember putting it in. So your brain just stops remembering that stuff to make room for the stuff that's now important. And I remember just feeling that straight away, being like, what has happened to my brain? I had postnatal depression after I had my daughter as well. It was during COVID. I had no family members that lived nearby, and even if they did, they couldn't come and hold the baby anyway because of the restrictions.
So isolating.
So isolating, zero help at all, especially when it's your first baby and you haven't a clue what you're doing. Our baby she was so unsettled as well for the first year. Like she cried a lot and we couldn't really figure out what was 100% wrong with her. I was exclusively breastfeeding and she wouldn't take a bottle of my expressed milk, which meant that I had to have her at every single feed, and she fed every 90 minutes until she was about 6 or 7 months. So I would literally have her at gigs and run on stage and run off. And then when I would run on stage, I could hear her screaming, crying in the background. And literally 10 days after having her, I was on a TV show. I do a BBC panel comedy show here called The Blame Game, and I was on that filming an episode 10 days after she was born. Like I watch that episode now, that series, and I'm like a shell of myself, and I have to be funny and do jokes and write material and be quick and be on whilst I've just had a baby. I've got postnatal depression. She's very unsettled. It was a very dark time, and I remember just being like, I had death to the previous me. I don't know what. I found it so difficult, and still do sometimes, to even enjoy anything because I'm always like anxiety ridden, like on to the next thing, what needs fixed, what needs done, who needs helped, what email needs responded to. I'm always like a million miles an hour, and I think that comes from just not being able to just settle because there's just always somebody that needed tended to or something that needed done. So massively for me, I feel like the person that I was before I had kids is my biggest loss. And in a way, I'm like happy that like the new me is so resilient. The new me can do a million things at the one time because I've had to. And not to like, there are almost everybody's a fucking parent or has a parent. So it's not like I'm not more special or any different than anybody else's experience of having kids. But I do think it completely changes who you are, and you can't stay the same person. So I think that is my biggest loss, and it's quite a big one.
Yeah, it's huge. Thank you for sharing that. Honestly, and I'm glad. Actually, I'm very glad that I asked you, because I know that I have a lot of young women and women that have going through these things that follow the podcast and stuff, and it's so refreshing to hear someone be so open about it, because I think from my experience with some of the women that I know that have had kids, and some of the parents that I've experienced, even like some of the parents that have adopted kids, like gay dads and lesbian mums or whatever, like all the different parents, they go through these things, but they seldom feel like they have people around them that are going through that, and just to feel less alone.
Exactly,
It's
yeah,
so
because it
special.
can be such an isolating time, and I'm such an advocate for people who like reach out to like a family member to talk to. Like in our podcast, the Girls Groupchat podcast, we do like live girls' day outs, like some fun events and stuff, and we did our first one a few months ago, and we started a Facebook group for anybody who wanted to go to the event but didn't have a friend to go with, because I know after having kids how isolating it is, and how you find, and even I think you get into your 30s and 40s and you're like, I don't know how to make friends anymore. I don't really speak to the friends I went to school with. It becomes difficult to literally socialize. So we started this Facebook group, and we were like, anybody who wants to come to our event, the event held 800 people and it was sold out. And we were like, anyone who's coming, who wants to come, who doesn't have a mate to come with, we will hook you up with other people who don't have mates to come with. And a group of 60 women met up at a different bar before our show, and it came to it as a group of 60 women. And they all have a WhatsApp group, and they all chat to each other, and they've all found friends that have like similar interests. And I was like, that is amazing. That is such a goal that we have, is to build these communities of people who are finding it difficult to socialize and meet new people, and hopefully we can connect those people.
It's just nice to see and to hear that like the glimmers of humanity is still there. There is fundamentally good in this world, because it sometimes feels a bit dry with all of that. And it's honestly, that's so beautiful to know that you're creating that.
Do you know what? I'll that's all quite deep, but I will tell you a funny lost story, because I did another podcast last year. It was like a cats protection society, and because I had 2 cats. But before we started recording, I'd said, and listen, I don't have my cats anymore. And they were like, oh, don't worry, that's absolutely fine. We'll talk about the cats anyway. And I was like, okay. We started recording the podcast, and the host was like, welcome to this special bereavement episode. Comedian Diona Doherty is going to here to talk about the loss of her 2 cats. And I was like, holy shit, neither of my cats are dead. I had to rehome them. And I had to rehome one of them, and one of them ran away. So I literally I was, oh shit, I'm going to have to pretend these cats are dead, aren't they? And I had to pretend they were dead. I spent the whole podcast, they were like, and how did they die? And I was like, natural causes. Both of them on the same day.
You were truly a yes and girl.
Yeah, I was like, I've done my stint in improv. I know what this is. I'm going to run with it. I don't want to break this guy's heart. He's done prep about my deceased cats, and I had to pretend. And I swear to God, the whole thing was like an hour we're recording. And then halfway through, they brought on a grief counsellor to coach me through.
Who the fuck has a grief counsellor for the cats? Like,
for the cats? A grief counsellor, and I had to like imagine I'll take away these exercises that'll help me. She was like, make a little book about the cats, little photograph and all, you can look. And I was all, Jesus Christ, one of them lives 3 streets away and the other one ran away.
You know what? That comes under the drag rule. Never let the truth get in the way of a good story. I love that.
100%. That is genuinely the response my agent had when I was like, what am I going to do about this? And it's fine.
It is what it is. You just carry on, bitch. Oh my God. Yeah. I just absolutely adore you. Thank you so much. But before you go, like I like to wrap up the episode, and thank you for sharing your stories as well. It really means a lot to me, and I know to the people listening. But from the things that you've lost.
Thank you for having me on.
Oh, babes, anytime. I would love to have you back. I hope to meet you one day. We can cross paths.
Yes.
I'd live. But so from the things that you've lost, and you said you losing your past self, what have you found?
I have found happiness in small, tiny things. I have found happiness in really quiet moments with my kids. I sometimes sit with my kids and I'm playing a little game with them. It's very simple. And we're maybe away in our caravan somewhere in a forest park and you're out with nature and it's very simple. And I realize that's when I'm at my absolute happiness. It's just the simplicity of being away. I've also found the courage to really, really genuinely 100% not worry about what anyone thinks of me. And that has been like the biggest discovery I've had in the past year, where I've been like, absolutely let go of worry about what people think of you, whether it's about what you post on social media or the type of comedy that you do or the things that you wear or your legs. Don't give it time. And I think that has been a really rewarding and freeing thing. When you finally can let go of giving a shit what people think is such a leap forward.
I love that. It is the power of letting that go and not giving any of that power.
Yeah,
The
100%.
power of not giving that power. That's power.
Yeah, that is.
Oh, my angel, Diona, where can the people find you? Because you've got your podcast. Tell us about your podcast and your show, and where can they find you?
So if you go onto my social medias at Diona Doherty Comedy. So I'm on TikTok and I'm on Instagram, and my podcast is called the Girls Groupchat podcast. It's on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, all the places. And if you find yourself at the Edinburgh Fringe anytime in August, I have a show called Get Your Pink Back. If you Google it, you'll find the venue and stuff.
Chookers for the show, my angel. Enjoy it.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing everything today. You've just been a dream. It's been so lovely. And from the bottom of my heart, thank you. You're a dream.
Thank you so much for having me on. You're adorable. Thank you very much. And I hope to meet you soon. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't wait. I want to give you a big squeeze. I can't wait.
Yeah.
Enjoy getting your pink back. And
thank you.
I can't wait to see you. But my friends, we'll be back after the break with a little bit more. Oh, my angels, what a beautiful chat. Thank you again to Diona Doherty for joining me on the podcast. Please go and follow and make sure you get your tickets to Edinburgh Fringe, because that show is going to be absolutely sensational. It's called Get Your Pink Back. And I am envious of anyone that can go and see that show. I really want to go. And I'm hoping that it comes to Australia. So if any promoters out there are listening, please get Diona's show to Australia ASAP. Thank you. But go and follow her. Go support the Girls Groupchat podcast as well. Honestly, thank you for sharing, Diona. That was such a beautiful conversation that I think is so important. And I think it goes with what this podcast is all about people finding like-minded people and feeling less alone in this world. And it was just such a lovely chat. So thank you so much for joining us. And before we go, I think it is important that we do one little Healing Hands. Healing Hands is a segment of the show where I reach out to you and I ask your queries, questions, quandaries, and I will try and give you my best advice to provide some light to mild healing in the world that we are living in. And I have reached out on Instagram and I'm going to provide some healing through the podcast. So I have been asked insights into the future of gay clubs with Gen Z not attending or drinking. It's a very interesting conversation because I know here in Australia, I have noticed, as working in nightclubs and bars and pubs and whatever, I've noticed quite a decline in people attending events, and the crowds sizes are quite small now, and I've noticed it around the world as well. Not so much in the UK. The UK seems to like to go out. I think, especially in Australia, we need to reclaim our culture of coming together and communicating. You don't have to drink to go to a bar either. And I think that's a misconception that I think a lot of young people have, that you don't need to drink to go out and have a good time. It would be great to maybe buy food or buy a soft drink or something, just so you're putting money back into these local venues, because fundamentally they need to make money. They're businesses. If you're going to go buy a Coca-Cola, buy a bottle of water, buy some chips or buy something, just so you can put a little bit of money back into the ecosystem of nightlife. But you don't need a drink, and you can come out and enjoy these events and participate without having to participate in party life or whatever. There are so many different events that you can come and get on board with. And I think it's about stepping away from our screens, getting people and young people comfortable with going up and having a conversation with someone that they don't know in person, rather than having to do it all pre-planned through Instagram or through apps or whatever, and breaking down that wall and knowing that it is uncomfortable going up and talking to someone in the real world. It is scary. Sometimes you might have a conversation that doesn't go the way that you think, but you might also make a friend. You never know. And I think I encourage everyone that is a bit nervous about going out to bars and venues or whatever, go out and do a night in whatever way that feels. If it's drinking, not drinking, whatever, but go out and have a conversation with someone. Go up and say hi to some random, and you never know, because that could be a lifelong friend in the making. And I think if we could encourage that, popping out and supporting the like shows and venues and all the different events they have, if you can find a place, and I'm not talking about like just your mainstream ones, all the different events, there's so many different bars and events, just go out and experience life and get yourself away from screens and away from being at home. And I think it will benefit us in creating a little bit more of a social world. I don't know. That's my thoughts. I hope that we see some change in that realm, but I don't know. We'll see. But just know that even if you get stuck and you're at a bar where I'm at, come up and say hello to Auntie Hannah. I'll sort you out and I'll make you feel a little bit of love and I'll give you some encouragement. But I'm going to leave it there because I think that's a nice way to end. I think I just want to encourage everyone to get out and challenge yourself to have a conversation with people that you don't really know. Put yourself in a bit of uncomfortability. Life is meant to be uncomfortable. That's what life is. And it's in those uncomfortable moments that we grow and develop and become better people. So that is my advice that I'm leaving you on for this episode. A huge thank you again to Diona Doherty for being my beautiful guest for today. But we'll be back with another episode of What's Lost Got to Do It very soon. But for now, I love you. Stay fabulous. Get out there, conquer the world, be the best you that you can be. And I will see you very soon. Love you guys. Bye!